Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Our focus today is on the severe but common neurological disease known as migraine. The World Health Organization lists migraine as the second leading cause of U.S. and global disability, and yet research dollars for migraine lag well behind other diseases. There's an effort underway to change that. Miles for Migraine is raising funds with a special event taking place at Veterans Memorial Park in South Burlington on September 24th. The money raised will be used to help fund migraine research at the University of Vermont Medical Center Headache Clinic. To learn about the event and also to learn about migraine, I'm joined by two guests. Dr. Adam Sprouse-Blum is a certified headache specialist at the medical center who has been with us before to talk about migraine research. And Katie MacDonald is the operations director for Miles for Migraine. She was diagnosed with migraine disease as a teenager while growing up in Swanton. And over the past decade, her disease has become chronic, meaning she has migraine attacks 15 or more days each month. Ouch. We have a lot to talk about, so I want to thank both of you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So first, Adam, what is migraine?
So our understanding of migraine has changed over the years. When I was in med school, I was told that it's a blood vessel stretching disease. Turns out that you don't have to have a change in the caliber of your blood vessels in your head. We now understand that it affects a lot of systems. It affects the brain, the gastrointestinal system. So it's really a multi-system disease.
Well, and how common is migraine in the United States?
As you mentioned, it's the second leading cause of global disability. And 1 in 7 people have migraine.
So what's the difference between migraine and headache?
Good question. So you mentioned there's not enough research into our understanding of migraine, which is true, but we know more about migraine than basically all other headache conditions. So we know less about, for example, tension type headache, although tension type headache is the most common headache condition that exists. And our understanding of tension type headache has evolved. We no longer understand it as simply a tight muscles of the scalp condition. It's actually more complex, and they might actually be related conditions, part of a spectrum. We don't know yet, so we're still learning.
Wow, that's amazing that you're still learning that. Like, is it part of a spectrum?
Oh, yeah.
So Katie, as an individual living with migraine, what's it like for you?
Yeah, it's, I'll say everyone who has migraine kind of has their own experience with it. For me, I have daily migraine attacks, and I'm generally pretty high functioning. Like today, I have a migraine, but I'm able to be up and about, and I look fine, right? But yesterday, I was in bed or on the couch all day long. When I'm dealing with a migraine, it's typically it's always on the right side of my head. I have severe sensitivity to light and sound. It's almost like my brain is just, everything's turned up to 10 and it seems much more loud than it really is. And the other thing that I think is important for people to understand is migraine is not just about your head. I do have head pain with migraine, but my whole body hurts. It's like I describe to people that it feels like I'm being tossed around in the back of a cement mixer and I'm just bruised all over. And I think that, you can even have migraine without a headache. So I think it's important for people to understand that this is a disease that really impacts your whole body.
Right. I know I have friends, it just knocks you out. It's very debilitating. So thank you again for being with us today. So Adam, is it accurate that migraines actually impact more women than men?
So in kids, that's not the case. So in kids, it's about 50-50. But around puberty, it starts to separate out. And by adulthood, women are affected 3 times more commonly than men. But there is 1 man for every 3 women with migraine.
Wow. And I wonder if that's part of why there are fewer dollars for research. Anyway, makes you wonder.
Yeah, I know what you're getting at. And yeah, I think this gets into migraine stigma, and, kind of with migraine is an invisible disease. And I think, diseases that you can't see, things like depression, anxiety, PTSD, and migraine, people question, oh, does the person really have it? Or with migraine, just take a Tylenol and you'll be fine. Particularly people that haven't had migraine themselves, they often don't quite understand. It's more than, it's more than just headache.
So what is a diagnosis for migraine? How do you know that that's what you have?
So it's currently clinical. We would like to have imaging or laboratory biomarkers, but we're not there yet. So currently the diagnosis of migraine is clinical based. There's a set of criteria that have been refined over time. So the accompaniments include, it's often what it comes with. So sensitivities to light, to noise, to smell, pain, which is often throbbing. You might have mid-face pain, and you might think, oh, I'm having a sinus problem, but migraine often presents mid-face. Or you might have pain at the base of the skull, and migraine often presents at the base of the skull, and people think they're having a neck problem or disequilibrium or brain fog. So it's a lot of the accompaniments, but it's clinically based.
Well, you brought up stigma, so I'd like to address that again. From your perspective, is it highly stigmatized, and what does that mean? So Adam, why don't you just, what does that mean about stigmatization?
Yeah, I mean, I think it does get back to things, questioning whether something is true or not. And if you can't see it, think about things that we used to think were completely made up. That over time we now understand, oh, there's actually a pathophysiology to the disease. And migraine, the more we understand, the more we, recognize that's a real thing, that we shouldn't be questioning this. I want to know that Katie.
Sure. So yeah, Katie, your thoughts. Have you experienced stigma?
Yeah, absolutely. And, stigma exists in so many different ways. Stigma can be coming from external sources where other people are, discounting you or doubting the validity of what you're saying. Like you say you have a migraine and they're like, oh, I've had a headache too. You should be fine. Take some Tylenol. And I don't know what you're complaining about. Stigma exists in structurally in our society. We believe a big reason why there's not more funding from the National Institutes of Health is because of stigma. Migraine is perhaps because more women are impacted and women are portrayed as being weak and frail and just complaining that may play a role. There was actually some recent research that came out about stigma and migraine that was saying people who experience fewer days of migraine, let's say 5 migraine attacks per month, but experience a lot of stigma, have poorer quality of life than people who are living with 25 days of migraine attacks a month, but are not experiencing stigma. So it can really play a role in how a person feels about themselves and their ability to manage.
Absolutely. And Katie, clearly you would love for people to talk more openly about migraine, and that's part of why you joined Miles for Migraine. So tell us a little bit about that organization.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, kind of coming off the stigma conversation, the more we get people willing to disclose that they have this disease and share a little bit about it, that's a really important method that we need to put in place to reduce the stigma. And so Miles for Migraine is a national nonprofit that puts on events all around the country. And we have a focus on live in-person events where people come out. Typically people with migraine tend to stay home and kind of stay sheltered, but we want people to come out and have people see that we are normal people, but we're living with this disability. And so we put on our signature event is our Walk, Run, Relax event. And we do that in 24 cities around the country. The way we choose our locations, like Burlington, are cities that have headache fellowship programs. So that's specialty training for doctors that are interested in getting into the field of headache medicine. And all of the funds that get raised from our event are donated to that city, in this case, the University of Vermont Headache Center, to help support the training of those providers and local migraine research.
Awesome, yeah, and all the money stays local. So who should consider getting involved with Miles for Migraine, Katie?
We would love anybody and everybody to come. If you're a person living with migraine or headache disease, if you have a friend or a family member that's impacted, this is a great way to show your support. And even if if you don't currently know that you have a connection to migraine, you probably work with or know somebody that does. And so coming out and showing your support through this event would be fantastic.
So tell us just a little bit more about the event itself happening in South Burlington on Saturday, September 24th.
Yes, so it will be our 5th annual Walk, Run, Relax event taking place at Veterans Memorial Park. This event, even if you're not feeling up for exercising that day, we really encourage you to come out. We're going to have some speakers in the morning, so we'll hear from a headache specialist, we'll hear from a person living with migraine, and we'll talk just a little bit more about our organization and the disease itself. We'll have lots of sponsors there that you can visit with to learn more about some of the current treatments and just be surrounded by people that really understand what this disease is all about.
And also, I'd like to point out that even if you can't attend the Miles for Migraine event, you can show up, you can support it financially. Go to the website, milesformigraine.org/Burlington, and click on the button for donate. Katie, can people come even if their migraine means they don't feel really well enough to walk or run? It sounds like the relax is part of that.
Exactly. We really encourage, we understand that, I don't know what my day is going to look like tomorrow. So sometimes it's hard to sign up for events when you're living with migraine and headache disease, but please still try to come. We have that relax option. You can sit in a chair, just listen to the speakers, help cheer for the people who are finishing the event, and just be a part of our community. We need you. We need everybody to come out and just help raise awareness about this disease.
Awesome. Katie and Adam, thank you so much, and good luck with this really important event and getting the word out.
Thank you so much.
And once again, thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.